Chapter 47, Warrior of the Yellow Board. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Zhang Yuochen was not interested in talking to Liu Chengfeng any longer. He held the flash-shining sword and said, "After the battle, you will know whether I am good or not." After watching the first 9 battles, Chengfeng actually did not look down upon Yuochen. Instead, he considered Yuochen as an enemy at the same level as him. Chengfeng owned a level 5 Icing Cold Sacred Mark, and inside his body, there was Icing Cold Genuine Qi. No doubt that his innate gifts were superior to many other warriors. So Chengfeng was a completion warrior at the Yellow Realm. There was almost nobody who could compete against him among his peers. Had he practiced harder, he would have reached the Black Realm. Meteor Sword Technique. The genuine Qi in Chengfeng was very strong. He injected his genuine Qi into the sword. All of a sudden, the sword in his hand glowed. 5 inscriptions of light series inside the sword were activated by him, so some sharp light sword aura were released. The whole Colosseum was surrounded by the running sword aura. "Your sword is a level 5 genuine martial arm?" asked Zhang Yuochen. "Your eyesight is not that bad." A hint of a cold smile played on Liu Chengfeng's face as he said, "Spark fireflies." Both he and the sword flew towards Zhang Yuochen's heart. The speed was so fast that they looked like a meteor flying over the Colosseum. It was a sword technique at the superior class of human stage. The Meteor Sword Technique. Yuochen dared not underestimate Chengfeng. He aggregated his genuine Qi and transferred them to his eyes through eye vessel. Within a second, his eyesight doubled in power. Yuochen looked at Chengfeng. He could see that Chengfeng was rather slow when using the sword. However, it was not because Chengfeng was becoming slower. Rather, it was Yuochen's observation that had improved. Eye vessel was one of his 27 meridians. It was quite difficult for other warriors to open up their eye vessels. Ding! Yuochen swayed the sword towards Chengfeng. His sword slid along Chengfeng's blade and left a light bloody cut on Chengfeng's neck. A drop of blood fell from the edge of Yuochen's sword. "How can he be faster than me?" Liu Chengfeng touched the cut on his neck. His gaze cold gaze. He shouted, again. Meteor Sword. 3 flickers. 3 beams of sword aura were released by Chengfeng at the same time. His sword aura was with icing cold air, made frosts in the air. Sacred Guiding Sword. Yuochen thrusted his sword forward as well, broken Chengfeng's 3 sword aura once. The sword aura did not vanish, but flew back to Chengfeng instead. Chengfeng dared not to fight against the sacred sword skill directly. He turned himself into a shadow and moved to his right. He then jumped 10 meters high and used his Meteor Sword 3 flickers technique again. 3 sharp sword aura was smashed onto Yuochen's head. Liu Chengfeng was placed 11th on the yellow board. Obviously, he was a strong warrior. He was even considered as the strongest at the Yellow Realm. Even if he battled with those who had just reached the Black Realm, he would not lose the fight immediately. In other words, with Chengfeng's combat powers, even if he met initial stage warriors who had reached the Black Realm, he could survive. However, if other completion warriors at the Yellow Realm met Black Realm warriors, they would lose the fight or even their lives. When it came to the realm of sword knowledge, Zhang Yuochen was more proficient than Liu Chengfeng. However, Zhang Yuochen's genuine Qi was weaker than Chengfeng's. Besides that, his martial arts realm was lower as well. His genuine Qi capacity is 10 times larger than mine. If I have a long battle with him, I will definitely be at a disadvantage. I need to win against him as soon as possible, Zhang Yuochen thought. Although Yuochen's genuine Qi capacity was smaller than Chengfeng's, he had opened up 27 meridians while Chengfeng had opened up 19 only. His explosive force was stronger. "Let's fight!" Yuochen roared with the moves from the Sacred Sword skill. He thrust his sword with the Sacred Sword skill technique, Sacred Breaking Plum Sword. "Hey, are you using a low class of spiritual sword technique again? I see. You want to quickly finish the match, don't you? But too bad. I won't let it happen." Chengfeng noticed Yuochen's intention. However, he had no plans to fight recklessly. Instead, he moved back to keep a distance away from Yuochen. Chengfeng knew his advantages as well as Zhang Yuochen's disadvantages. He planned to exhaust Yuochen's genuine Qi. Liu Quanshan nodded and said, "Chengfeng finally knows how to use battle tactics. If he can keep using this strategy, he will win." The stern-looking scribe said, Chengfeng has a talent for martial arts. If he can practice it more, he may achieve more than you, my lord. 15 minutes later, Zhang Yuochen started to sweat. Beads of cold sweat could be seen on his forehead and the back of his hands. He was exhausted. Genuine qi running out? Liu Chengfeng smirked. All of a sudden, Yuochen made a lethal move with his sword techniques. It seemed that he could not continue any longer. The time has come. Go to hell. Liu Chengfeng took the opportunity and initiated an attack ahead of Zhang Yuochen. He thrust the sword towards Zhang Yuochen's heart. He wanted to not only beat Zhang Yuochen, but to kill him. When Chengfeng was about to make his move, a hint of a smile played in Yuochen's eyes. It seemed that Yuochen was laughing. Got you. Boom. Zhang Yuochen squatted partially and slid forward. His sword was thrust towards Chengfeng's abdomen. How could Chengfeng expect that Yuochen could still change techniques with his low genuine qi? Chengfeng twisted his arm hastily to cross-cut his sword downward. Boom. Two swords met. A huge vibrative power transferred back to their arms simultaneously. The words flew out of their hands at the same time and fell outside the Colosseum. The next second, Zhang Yuochen utilized his residual genuine qi to run inside his 27 meridians. He unleashed all the power through his palm. Galloping elephant. It was released with the strength of a herd of bulls. Phew. Liu Chengfeng threw up blood because of his wounded abdomen. He flew backward more than 10 meters before falling. He was severely injured and fainted the moment he touched the ground. Liu Quanshan shook his head and told the servant next to him. He said, "Gosh, he is too impulsive. Take him back and nurse him." After this, Liu Quanshan turned back and walked out of the yellow-level Colosseum. Boom. The palace was filled with loud applause. Another warrior at the yellow board was born. After that, a deacon of the warfare palace handed a black iron plate as well as 100 spiritual crystals to Zhang Yuochen as an award. Congratulations, Your Highness. You're the 28th warrior of the yellow board in our Yunwu commandery. Now you're the 11th on this yellow board, said the deacon. The yellow-level Colosseum made a comprehensive assessment on Zhang Yuochen based on his behavior today and finally awarded him this rank. That deacon put a black iron plate into Zhang Yuochen's hand and said, "This is a yellow board iron token. It represents the recognition by the Martial Market Bank, which also symbolizes your identity as a warrior of the yellow board." Zhang Yuochen took the token with words etched on it, Yunwu Commandery, the 11th of the yellow board. Zhang Yuochen. That deacon also gave those 100 spiritual crystals to Zhang Yuochen and said, "Because of your 10 winning streaks in the yellow-level Colosseum, you're awarded 100 spiritual crystals. They're worth 10,000 silver coins in total. Your Highness, if your cultivation is further improved, you can come here to battle again. If you can have another 10 winning streaks, you will be awarded 1,000,000 silver coins." That deacon continued. "However, if you come here again, their warriors you battle will be warriors of the yellow board alone. In other words, only by winning 10 warriors can you win 1,000,000 silver coins." In Yunwu Commandery's history, there has been anyone who can defeat 10 warriors of the yellow board. Even the genius 7th prince only won 9 at that time. That's the best record in our commandery. Zhang Yuochen put them away and said, "I'll come again." After saying this, Yuochen stepped out of the Colosseum and walked towards the 9th Commandery Princess and Shanxi Angling. The 9th Commandery Princess, Yuxi, was quite excited. She was like a fragrant breeze and threw herself into Yuochen's arms. She stretched out her soft, white arms and hugged Yuochen's neck. She kissed his cheek with her 2 gorgeous eyes shining. She said excitedly, "Brother, you're amazing. You're now a warrior of the yellow board. You just defeated Han Fu and Liu Chengfeng. I have asked my people to bring this news back to the palace. Our father and concubine Lin will be thrilled as well." Yuxi was 16. After all, she had a nice figure. Right now her big, soft breasts were pressed onto Yuochen's chest, moving constantly. This embarrassed Yuochen a lot, so he had to turn his eyes away. Yuxi freed Yuochen and said, "Brother, as a warrior of the yellow board, you can go to the Savage Gods pool again to cultivate." "I'm so envious," Zhang Yuochen asked. "I can go there for the second time?" "Of course, only a warrior of the yellow board can do that," replied Yuxi. "Great. I'll buy a weapon refining stove first, then I'll head for the Savage Gods pool immediately. Yuo Chen was pretty happy now. He thought, if I can practice there again, I will be able to absorb more power of blood for sure. By then, my physique will improve a lot, which can give me a chance to open up 36 meridians when trying to reach the completion level. If so, I will be stronger than I was in my previous life.